Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Candace.
Welcome to Contents may Vary. I should probably get the name right if I'm going to say it.
It's
Contents
all
May
good.
Vary, episode 1.
Oh
This is
no.
the first one. We did it.
Yes, we're
We
here. I'm
got
so
out the group
happy.
chat.
We did. We really did make it out the group chat. What a time.
What a time.
What a time.
I am Candace. I was about to say I'm Kelly. I'm Candace. 44. I'll be 45 in July. Yes, I'm a Leo. We can't not say that that's a thing.
Whoop,
Um,
whoop.
I live in the DC metro area in Prince George's County, Maryland, specifically. And by day, I work in nonprofit sector. I'm not going to talk about which organization it is, but I'm a do-gooder for the most part, and I cause a lot of ruckus. So it's probably good that I don't say where I work, but y'all talk about me anyway. Um, and I'm so excited to be talking to my baby sister. It feels weird to say my
Hey.
baby sister.
Really? Hi, it's the baby sister speaking. My name's Kelly. I am 38 years old. I'll be 39 at the end of the year. I'm a Christmas Eve baby in December. What else? I am from St. Louis originally, but currently living in Louisville, Kentucky, working in pharmacy specifically. That's my day job. By night, I am a multi. What's the word? Multi. Like just a hyper creative person. I love. There's a lot of things that I like to get my hands on, and a lot of things I like to do, and I indulge in all of those after work. Streaming, gaming, music, reading. So many things that I love. And yeah, that's what I do
I
by
love it.
evening.
She's so creative. Like I see some of the stuff, and that's kind of how the podcast came to be. Would see so much stuff that she would post. I'm like, she's so creative and cute. And I am a suppressed creative. Um, I write. That's my preferred medium of creating. But both of my kids are artists. My daughter is in theater. My son is in. He's a jazz musician. So, it's not too strange that they are the way that they are. But I wish I lived more in my creativity like you do. So I admire you for um, being as creative as you are. And
Thank
I don't know
you.
if I was customer number, what customer number I was, but I'm gonna say I was customer number one.
You were. You
Oh,
were.
not really.
Let's stick. You were my first order.
Yep.
For real.
I'm gonna say I'm customer number one. So I'm a gas everybody up. So I'm really proud of you.
Yep.
Excited for what you're doing.
Thank you. It's just so much stuff that creative energy, you can't let it get bottled up inside. It's a lot that I just have to make time for it. And whatever I'm feeling like sometimes I feel like I'm so scattered. There's so many things that I want to do, but hey, I just make some time to get the creative energy out and flowing. So it's not just cooped up inside of me and I'm feeling like a crazy woman.
Yeah, that's just one of the things that I think is so interesting. And I know we'll talk about it a lot this season about our I'm going to call it connection because I feel like siblings have a connection that's intuitive. It may not be even if they're not connected with one another through relationship or anything like that. There's these little things that bring us together and we don't necessarily know it. Gene is an artist. Our brother is an artist, and you're an artist, and I'm an artist in a different way. Dad is an artist. Like he doodles and would make these little cartoon things. It's
I know
just
that.
it's so crazy how life ends up showing you the ways that you are or who you are. And I guess it's our goal in life or our mission to try to figure out how to consistently meet the
Mm-hmm.
person that we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. And I know
Yeah.
you've brought it up at times when we've spoken before, the whole idea of nature versus nurture, and how much of it is just truly ingrained in us because of simply who we are.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be that we grew up around one another, but it's just there. It's part of our DNA,
Hmm.
and can't help but find the correlation in that. It's such a fun thing to experience. It having a family dynamic such as this can seem like maybe a burden to some, but it gives me a whole new perspective and a way of learning people and discovering how life works, and experiencing familiar relationships in this way.
Hmm.
Um, giving me that perspective of learning that, hey, I didn't grow up with this person, but we're alike in a lot of ways. And it's freaky sometimes, but it's a fun freak. My brain loves that kind of stuff. My brain loves it. So I'm glad that, that it unfolded that way for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique experience.
A lot of people don't get that opportunity. You know what? Maybe, maybe they will from now on. We'll see.
In this episode, we're diving into just the idea or the story of how we came to know of one another and got to know each other. And just the lore behind the podcast, right? So
it's a lot of lore.
Oh man. So we're connected through our dad. We have the same dad. And growing up, I grew up with my mom. She's a single parent. Grew up by myself as an only child. And then one day I found out that I had a sister. And that's a very unique story. But I want to know it from your side first.
Okay.
How did you find out? How did you find out about me?
I'm still so when you dropped that on me that day when we were recording our promo clips and you said, I found out the day you called. When I tell you, as white people say, I was gobsmacked. I mean,
gobsmacked.
The gobsmack, for Klimt even.
Your flabbers were gastered.
They were all over the place. But I was okay. So I was floored because I remember how much thought I had to take into, or at least how much thought I felt I needed to take into deciding to contact you. Because, I knew you were a minor, like you were at the time 14, I want to say, 14 or 15. We're 6 years apart. So that feels about right based on the age.
I didn't say my age.
Yeah.
I did say my age.
And I remember saying, okay, well, I can't call a minor. I got to, go through her mom first, and because I knew, just the little I knew of being, close to adulthood, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a possibility that she doesn't know. And I can't just cold call a kid and be like, hey, I'm your sister,
Right.
So this is so the lore for me is that, okay, for listeners, my parents, my mom and dad were married in 71. My big brother was born in 72. Our brother, Gene, was born in 72.
Shout out to Gene.
Shout out to Gene. Now, FYI, this family come with a lot of instructions, as we say. He is child number 3. I think.
A rough estimate. A rough estimate here.
So, we have 2 much older siblings who are 16 and 15 years older than me. So they would be 22 and 21 years older than Kelly. They were from Dad's first marriage. And so my mom and dad married in 71, had Gene in 72, and then I came along in 81. And I want to say it was 1990 when they divorced officially. But then in 1996 or 96, 97, I decided that I want to apply to boarding school for high school. And it was in New Hampshire and it was expensive. I got a scholarship to go, but my folks didn't have no money to be paying for me to be flying from Memphis to New Hampshire and buying new winter clothes and all this stuff that we weren't doing. So because I was living with my dad at the time, or our dad at the time, their relationship got a little bit better. At least they were cordial with one another, far more cordial with each other. And so they decided they would combine households to help finance, do what it took to pay for me to go to school. And that's been the case ever since. And I've been out of high school a very long time. But in those years from 90 to 96, it was uh it was rough, mostly because my mom was going through so much emotionally, dealing with, divorce and having now to, take care of two kids by herself, and, not really knowing what my dad was doing and how he was doing and what he was going to be contributing. And I apologize, I say my dad because I'm thinking about myself and talking through it this way.
I understand.
And I just remember her, like, she was just going through a lot. And there were occasions she would say, your daddy got another daughter.
Mm.
But I wasn't sure if she was telling me, like, because she meant it, or like I wasn't sure.
What am I doing with this information here? Okay. Processing.
It would come up at weird times. Like I was like, is this real? Like, are you just, you mad? Like I didn't. I'm like, what I do? You mad at me? Like you, like you're like, that's why he got another daughter.
Right. Wow.
But she wasn't saying it. We were talking about this actually the other day. She was like, I would never say anything like that to be mean. She was like, she said, I was just really trying to process a lot of stuff myself. And I said, I get that as an adult woman now. I get it. And so from 90 to 96, I kept hearing this, on occasion. Like it wouldn't be, it wasn't a regular thing that I heard. I would say maybe it would happen like every couple of years or something like that. So it always had in the back of my mind. And then I want to say it was my senior year in high school. So that would have been 98, 99. Okay. My mom was like, she just brought me a picture of you. And I looked at it and I was like, who is it? She said, I think this is your daddy's daughter. And I was like, okay. And I looked at the picture. I was like, she looked like my daddy. I was like, that's. Mm-hmm. Yes, I saw your picture and I said, oh yeah, that's a sister.
That's my people.
That's my people related to me. And oh, by the way, okay, let's not forget. Well, maybe I don't know if you know this. Do you know the story of the sister that's between? She's older than. Your face.
Betwixt. No, tell me more. Come on. Okay, yeah, I'm finding it.
She's between Jean and Mario. So she's older than Jean, younger than Mario. And Dad brought her to the house one day. I want to say I was like, maybe 14 or something like that, 13, 14. Let me see. Like it had been like 13, 14. He brought her by the house and was like, this is your sister. And we all looking like, we were skeptical. Okay. And we were skeptical because Bacchus genes are strong. You can look at the two of us. It's like, their genes are strong.
It's all across here. I know it.
Between the jaw, the eyebrows, the facial structure, body type, size, all of those things, they are strong. Okay, so for y'all, our dad is 6'5". Okay. And I'm 6 feet. How tall are you, Kelly?
5'9.5".
Okay. Listen, I'm only saying 6 feet because my daughter made me say I'm 6 feet. I'm actually 5'11.5".
Let's go.
And I say it all the time. I say it all the time. She's like, "You're not 5'11.5, 6 feet."
Because I'm not 5'10". I know that much.
For embracing the half, because absolutely. I feel like you can't perp and say you 6 feet if you're not, because people be lying all the time about their height.
No, let's be our true heights here. If it's a half inch, it's a half inch. I'm not 5'10".
It's a half inch. Okay, so body size, girl. This sister was maybe 5'2".
Yeah, I was like,
Her eyebrows are thin. Now, I probably shouldn't talk like this because we don't have proof that she's not our sister, but in our mind, she's not. I don't think she's our sister. There's nothing about.
Oh man.
I would get in trouble. Like,
Maybe a little pinch of trouble, but this is a loving space. We're here to tell our story. We're telling our story. This is our truth.
this is my story. So, anyway, so mind you, I've had this experience of being introduced to people that are supposed to be siblings. I don't have any problem with it because even like for a couple of years, even though we were skeptical about it, we were like, okay, all right, this is our sister. But then she disappeared. And we were like, she's not. It's cool. So not disappeared as in off the face of the earth. She just wasn't didn't communicate anymore because there was a period of time she was living with us.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not unfamiliar with the idea of having a long lost sibling. But when the fact that it took my mama to tell me, and then I'm like still left not really knowing, the particulars because she doesn't know, particulars about anything. It was just a big period of like question marks. And like I knew my dad had other relationships. That was always a thing that was just an undercurrent in our house because of how much it hurt my mom. And I remember, I want to say it was before they divorced. So it was like maybe 87, 88 or something like that. My mom was going through a box of like bills and stuff. And she had asked me, she was like, Candace, have you been using my American Express? And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I'm little, like, I don't know how to use a credit card, but I guess she was like just trying to rule out every possibility of, like maybe one of the kids was buying stuff or, maybe somebody stole it or whatever. So she was clearly finding charges of things on, on the bills and asked me about it. So I knew like that was my first time having an inkling that there was something that wasn't entirely transparent to my mom about various things. And there were, moments like that throughout time. And when she brought me the picture, I said, okay, this is my sister. And it just kept sitting in the back of my mind because I was like, I don't know what to do with it. Like I didn't like, I was scared to ask dad because I didn't know how he was I didn't want him to be mad at my mom for telling me, and at the same time, I didn't want him to feel like I was putting my nose in business that wasn't mine. But I feel like my siblings are my business. Like that's just the way I feel. So when I got old enough and I was like, no, we gonna figure this out. And I found I did enough to ask dad. It was like, hey, what's my sister mama name? And he surprisingly told me. We didn't have any other conversation about it. I didn't ask any other questions. But the moment I was able to find your number or your mom's number, I said, okay, well, I'm gonna call her and I'm gonna see, because I want to know my sister. I always wanted a little sister. Always. Like I remember when I was 6 years old, 5 or 6, I asked my mom if I could have a little sister. And we were living in this apartment. And at the time, Jane was torturing me in the way that a big brother would. So, and I wanted to torture somebody else. Not really.
Somebody got to get this. Somebody got to get this right.
Be a big sibling, my big sister. And I remember I asked my mom. I said, "Mama," I was like, "Can I have a little sister?" She said, "Baby, go wish on the star."
How old were you at that time? Was it so far gone?
I was like 6. Which is
okay.
You were there. If I was 6, you were just coming. I'm just putting this together now.
Maybe you were sensing it.
I must have been, but I remember I was like, I want to listen. My mama told me to go wish on a star, and I sat in the windowsill for several nights in a row, looking for stars, and I was trying to find a shooting star, even though I didn't know what a shooting star looked like. I was trying to find one, and I was saying, God, God give me a little sister. Like I remember that so vividly.
Wow.
So vividly.
Wow.
And then come to find out, I got a little sister. And I
Mm-hmm.
call her and I'm the one breaking the news to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know, like, okay, because this has been in my mind. I was like, okay, like, did your mama get off the phone with me? Because it was all in the same conversation. It wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
I called and I talked to your mom, and then she was like, okay, we'll call you back. It was like
Mm-hmm.
almost like, you call somebody and they say, okay, hold on. And then the person comes to the call. So in that space where she was like, hold on,
Uh-huh.
was it like, so Kelli, you got a sister. She on the phone. Come talk to her.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Pretty
what was that like
much.
for you?
Pretty much. I don't. So I was around 13, 14 when this happened. I remember being in my mom's room because the phone was in her room, and I came to the side of her bed, and
House
she
phone.
told me that yes, and she told me somebody was on the phone for me. It was my sister. So I picked up, and I don't know what it is about my memory, but like I just remember having the conversation, hearing your voice. I remember the excitement, but I don't remember the things around it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember once you introduced yourself, and I was just like, okay, what do I do? What do I say? Like in my head, it's a lot of thoughts running, and I'm just trying to piece it together, but also dealing with the excitement because I've always wanted a sibling. I never considered like having an older sibling or a younger sibling. I was also asking my mother for siblings all the time.
Oh my gosh.
To the point where she just got us a dog. I had a dog. My dog was my brother.
Like, take this out.
Yeah. I mean, she was like, it wasn't even never I would just ask for one and I knew it wasn't happening. So I did always want a sibling. So in that moment, there was a lot of excitement that I was processing. But just the connection and just sorting it out in my head, it took a lot of time because at that point, Dad, he would, I lived in St. Louis, so I would see him every now and then if he was in town, maybe, and he'd stop by the house and say hi, and I'm just in the kitchen like, hi, and don't know what to do because to me, I mean, you would say that's my dad, but I didn't know him. Like I didn't know him that well. Sometimes, like, my mom I guess she would keep him in the loop of what's going on. And every now and then there might be a phone call where he talked to me and tried to give me one of them stern talkings maybe, but it's like, okay, like I didn't. So it was a lot of processing all at once because now it's really real. I think there was one time when Dad came to St. Louis that I actually hung out with him a little bit. But beyond that, it was just, that's my dad. He lives down in Memphis and whatever,
Yeah.
So to now have a sibling and to find out I had a sibling, I was trying to figure out, okay, so what does this mean? Like, where do I go from here? What's the next step? But also I'm still a child, so I don't really know, what I'm saying, what to do with the information. It's like, I'm excited.
For that little bomb.
I just remember, like I said, when we talked about it before, I just remember being excited because I wanted to know what you looked like. I wanted to know, put faces to names now. And yeah, there were just so many times that I really did want a sibling. And now that you were there at that time, it was just, I don't know, it was a lot to process.
And then, so
as a kid.
I can't remember if in that conversation, like I went through like, oh, and we have this, like, was that also when you found out about other siblings or was that later? Was that when
that was later.
Okay.
That was later. So at that time, then I probably only thought it was knew that it was you and Jean from that point. And then it wasn't until further, probably when Dad and I started talking in my adulthood, that he would tell me, mention our other siblings and just how big the family is in general. But at that point, I just thought it was just you and Jean.
Okay, look, I'm about to. People go. I think this is a weird question, but how many siblings you know about?
Oh Lord, 4.
Okay, as in
you and Jean plus
Lisa
2 more.
Mario. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I was like, well, maybe she. I was like, wonder if she know about any other ones that I don't know about.
No. Nah, yeah, just y'all two. So, um, that was just a era. You know, the preteen teen era is already a lot going on
It's a
as far
lot.
as growing and learning in life. So just add that to the list of everything everything else that I had on my back. But growing up as an only child, there were so many things that I feel like I missed out on from having an older sibling to guide me. My
Mm-hmm.
mom, she's a single parent, so she didn't have a lot of time for the extras. You know, like she was my mom. She showed up when I needed her to. We had food on the table all the time, but just like some of the guidance through those preteen years, I know if I had a sister, things would have gone a little different. I remember one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me. I'm gonna tell this story.
Oh
In
Lord.
sixth grade, I took dance. I took
Mm-hmm.
In sixth grade, I took dance instead of gym because I was tired of gym. By the time I got to middle school, I didn't want to go to gym anymore. I hated running. So I said, I'm going to do dance. And in our dance class, the big recital that we practiced and laid up to was Alvin Ailey's Revelation. Have you seen that performed before?
I saw it for the
Okay.
first time last month.
Okay. So, you know, it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
arm movement and all of this. Girl,
Yes.
we're there. I'm in sixth grade. We perform in front of the middle school. Maybe I can't remember if it was right after the performance or maybe like the day after. One of my close friends, her older sister, who was in eighth grade at the time, came to me. She was like, Kelly, you need to shave your underarms. And I was like, huh? My underarms? That's how I didn't know like it was a
Really?
thing. I'm not seeing other people. You know, had I had a sister around the house, I might have seen her like shaving and stuff and like, oh, okay, this is something that women and girls do. I was just so embarrassed because then at that time I didn't know. So I'm just up there throwing my arms up and all of this in front of the school, not knowing that it was a thing. Like you shouldn't really have arm hair. Or I don't know. So I was just like, when I look back on it, I was like, that would have been a time where if I had a big sister, it'd have probably saved me from that. I'd have seen more girly things growing up around the house. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my mom. She was doing her best, but there were just some things that I know that I could have gleaned from a relationship with a sibling in the house. You know?
But you know what's interesting is that I had the same thoughts. Because you know, I didn't have an older sister. I didn't grow up with an older. I mean, Lisa and I aren't close like that. Like we didn't because she was, you know, 16 years older than me, and she had a little sister. Like it's kind of hard to explain. Like her mom remarried and had a daughter, and the daughter and I are the same age. So she's got two little sisters that are only 5 months apart from each other, 4 months apart. And here I am, the one that's always trying to bring people together. I end up becoming close with Lisa's sister.
Okay.
And I call her my cousin. You know, Black families the way we do.
Conscious
Be like,
baby.
how y'all related? Well, that's my daddy ex-wife daughter.
But that's my cousin.
But it's my cousin.
It equates to yes.
So
don't ask too much.
But yeah, so and Lisa, because you know, various things with, you know, that I think that she and dad have come to work through with their relationship, but at that time, they didn't really have, you know, the strongest relationship. So she wasn't around much. There would be occasions where she pop in and pop out. Like I'm close to her oldest son. But we just didn't have that sister relationship. Like, you know, where you would call and check me and tell me what I'm doing right or not doing wrong, or, you know, like show me certain things. There was I remember certain parts when I was like maybe 9 or 10 where she would do my hair, and I loved that. But, you know, as far as like what it's like to grow into womanhood, I didn't really have that. Definitely didn't have it with a sibling. And my mom, much like yours, she just didn't have the bandwidth. She didn't have it in her.
Yep.
because she's essentially a single mom
Yeah.
and um working three jobs, trying to figure all this stuff out with, and then having a son who's getting into shit at that time,
Mm,
and trying to make sure that he's okay and at least alive. Those are all
mhm,
things that were on my mom's mind at the time that I have to, as an older woman now,
mhm,
reckon with on my own.
mhm,
Just, stuff that I don't know how to describe it, but it's just things that it took me a long time to learn. And I learned probably through television, or I learned through
mhm, mhm.
other girls,
Yeah.
or whatever. And I learned late because
Yes.
I just didn't have that space in my house to do it. And also, even though my mom didn't really have the bandwidth, she had tabs on me. So it wasn't like I was
Mhm.
out, like I went out in and out and all that kind of stuff. I was in the house,
Mhm,
so
mhm. Yeah.
whatever I could get into in the house is what I saw or what I watched. And
Yeah. Yeah.
much of that
I know a
didn't
lot.
black girls.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times, like, only children we get labeled as like headstrong or just almost spoiled or selfish. But
Hmm.
I think a lot of that came from just my experience. I was, like you said, it was a lot of me learning the world just through exploration and self discovery or learning things on my own. So I am formulating my own opinions and ideas about the world, and there's nobody there to kind of bounce those ideas off of or challenge those ideas. So a lot of what I learned was just through my own experience early on and through TV, movies, media that taught me a lot about what I imagined life was supposed to be like. And a lot of the things about like womanhood and that stuff, I really just learned through experience. And like you said, I learned late. I felt like I had to really go through things in my early adulthood. Even my teenager is just figuring it out, figuring it out on my own. So I see how a lot of times only children can be labeled as such because I am just headstrong in my ways because I learned it myself. It's my experience. What can you tell me? So,
You're like, I'd like
what
trial
can
by
you?
fire.
Yeah. And also, I guess if you believe in astrology, the whole Capricorn thing, I'm just very headstrong, and I know what I know,
Uh-huh.
and it's gonna take a lot to challenge what I think.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
I,
I
it
think
was a lot of just learning through exploration.
for me, when I wished on the little sister, when I was wanting a little sister, I definitely wanted, like I said, when I was 6, I knew I just wanted to be somebody's big sister.
Mhm.
And then when I got a chance to get to talk with you, I wanted to, I don't know how to describe what I wanted. I just knew I wanted to show up. Like I wanted to be there. That's really the
Mhm.
easiest way for me to
Mhm.
capture how I was feeling. And it even took me a moment to do that. Like
Mhm. Do you feel
I
like you practiced what you wanted to say, or
uh
what, like just the first conversations or that type of thing, or was it like a freestyle?
it was certainly a freestyle. But the ADHD in me, I think I'd be talking through all the things all the time.
Uh huh.
So I'm sure I did some version of it, but it wasn't like, how Kevin Hart was like, my mama told me to tell you. It was, I wasn't like, I wasn't rehearsing
Uh
like
huh.
that, like, oh no, I
Uh
gotta say it.
huh.
Yes. I wasn't doing it like that
Uh huh.
or like Issa in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But I was definitely um I didn't have to worry about chickening out. I knew that
Okay.
much. I didn't have to worry that I would be too afraid to call. I had decided I was going to call, and so that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only thing I might have rehearsed was, "Hi, this is Candace, Tansy's daughter," because I didn't know exactly how to introduce myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to be honest, everything flew out the window the moment for me, the moment your mom, like the moment I heard your mom, And it was for two things. One,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel I needed to be nervous because your mom sounded genuinely pleased to hear me, to hear from
Mm-hmm.
me. So I didn't feel I needed to be nervous. But then I had a moment of sadness
Mm-hmm.
that I had to work through for probably like maybe a year and a half, 2 years between the time that we talked until when you graduated high school.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Um, I had to work through it because I was angry. And I
Mm.
wasn't angry at you. I wasn't angry at your mom. I was angry at dad.
Mm. Okay.
I was angry because, wow, I'm getting emotional.
Mm.
Because when I called and your mom was like, "Oh, hey Candace, how is Emery?"
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was like, this woman knows a lot about me. I know nothing about her and nothing about my sister. And I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't if it weren't for my mom telling me and for me
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was angry that that had been kept from me, that that relationship had
Yeah.
been kept from me for all that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Um,
Okay.
and I had to work through that because
Mm-hmm.
it had nothing to do with what I wanted because what I wanted was a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt hard trying to grow this relationship while being angry with dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
about having a daughter, not that at all. It was just about like you've just kept this secret,
Mm-hmm.
from me, from
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah.
And um what I feel like I and we lost out on as a result
Mm-hmm.
of it. Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I feel that families should know each other. I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And especially family like siblings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Yeah.
by the time I think by the time I uh was able to just kind of reconcile that in my own head, like, no, you know what? You got to deal with like the past is the past and how people choose to deal with the past is on them. It's not you, you
Yeah.
know. Um the only thing you can control is how you move forward. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Keep in mind, you're 19 when this is happening.
that's true.
Like
I am like,
you,
I think I give myself a
hello.
bit of regret.
Yes, yes. Because and that's I think that's is valid anger because that shouldn't have been on you to try to, you know what I'm saying, to put it together. You took on a huge undertaking that was technically not your responsibility to do. So it was valid anger
Yeah, it
to be
wasn't.
put in that position.
Both of us, neither one of us should have been put in that
Mm-hmm.
position. To where you're finding
Mm-hmm.
out about a sibling because somebody decided to call you on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and yeah, it's just like anyway. So when I think by the time I came to see you for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I was now like, okay, I was I working? I had to have been working already
Mm-hmm.
because I
I believe
paid to
so.
go.
Yeah. I
I'm
believe
working.
so.
Um, I was just like, I want to show up. And I didn't know what, showing up was going to look like. I didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
that meant, but I was like, I remember when I graduated from high school, I remember wanting flowers. I
Mm-hmm.
remember wanting flowers. I didn't get flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember wanting flowers. And I was like, when my sister graduated high school, I'm going to send her some flowers.
And that was such a beautiful gift, Candace. Because then that's the next thing that stands out in my memory, just of our story. I remember at graduation, I got the flowers from you, and it was a beautiful thing. I want to say I cried. I was like, but just to say that, you giving me that something that you had always wanted, but it landed and it stuck with me since then. I'll always remember that when I graduated, my sister sent me some flowers, and I remember, like, I just know that from our story for real. I hold on to
Hear
that.
that. I'm
I
happy
hold
to
on to
hear
that.
that. Cause I
Yeah.
just, it's like for me, the sibling part, like I don't want to impose myself, in any kind of way. Cause I remember Lisa, like she did something for me that it felt very imposing and
Mm.
I did not like it.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about that at some other point. I
Okay.
did not like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just underscored how little she knew about me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I knew I didn't want to be imposing. Like, you got a big sister, now you gotta tell me all your secrets. You know, you gotta do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to be like that. I knew at minimum I wanted to try to be what I wanted,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or wished I had.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it definitely it definitely landed. I mean, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Um
How did you decide? You said something earlier, and I don't want to
mm,
get into a future episode. Edit
mm-mm,
that out. Um, but you said something earlier where you were like, um, you didn't really know you didn't really know dad.
mm-mm,
Um, and what's interesting to me is that around the same time was not around the same. I'm going to say around the same ages because the
mm-hmm.
time would have been different, but the age
Yeah.
around the same ages, that was my experience too.
Mm,
Which is so like
okay.
it's weird, and I think that's why I had such a like I lionized dad in a way
Mm,
that wasn't fair to him, and it also really wasn't fair to my mom.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but because he was in and out, they divorced in
Yeah.
90, and then he was in St. Thomas, and then he was in
Mm-hmm.
Texas, and then he remarried, and then
Mm-hmm.
and I was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, I so our relationship was I there were so many things that I was upset with him about that I never said
Mm-hmm.
because I did know, even though, we weren't tight like that,
Mm-hmm.
I was still very much a daddy's girl in my mind.
Mm.
And
Uh-huh.
I think I think of the four of us at the time, I was the closest to him, like in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
we'd actually talk about. He would share some parts of how he was feeling about things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was scared to say how I felt, or scared to say that I was upset because I think I was scared he was gonna leave.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, did you have like when he would show up in St. Louis or whatever? Um, did you Like, what were your feelings around things? And did you have a relationship with Karen? Or because Karen was in St. Louis, did she?
No. So I know of Karen because I believe I went to her house once.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he took me over there one time, but I couldn't tell you if I saw her walk out. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know. I don't remember. And this is gonna sound harsh. This is gonna sound harsh, but you gotta understand that I grew up just with me and my mama, my mom's side of the family. When it came to my relationship with dad at that time for a long time, you know how in cartoons there's the parents where you only see the chest down, they don't show like their face. Like it's just a figure. There's a dad, and they come in, and it's just the chest. You see their legs, a voice, and wah 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 wah, and then it's gone.
That was it?
That's kind of what it felt like to me. I don't have a lot of memories of that. Like I said, I just remember there were times where my mom might call, or he'd be on the phone, and I'd say something like, "Hey," like, "Oh, hi,"
Mm-hmm.
or like times when he did come to visit. It was just like, okay, you're my dad, but I don't know what that means because I've never had a dad. Like I didn't have a father figure.
Yeah.
I didn't. That's a very hard thing to describe for people who grew up with both parents in the house. It's hard to say that when it came to establishing a relationship with him, I didn't know what to do. And I didn't really make much of it when he would come to visit. It was just like, okay, it's cool to see you and hey, but I had no emotional connection. I wasn't moved by seeing him as a kid. I was just like, okay, because then he'd just be gone. And You
And
know,
you know when he was gonna come
I
back.
don't know when the next phone call would be or when the next visit would be. So it was literally like that cartoon,
Yeah.
how cartoon depictions of some parents are, where it's just they're just a figure,
I can
and it's
see
funny.
that. It makes complete sense. It makes
Yeah.
complete sense. That's also all of this is why I'm so excited that we're doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
um, first of many episodes, but also first of many opportunities to really get a chance to know more about each other in a way that is I'm gonna tell you it's hella scary because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going we've never had these conversations before. So I have
Mm-mm.
no idea what's going to come out.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Have no idea like, what's going to come out for me.
Yeah.
Um but I'm excited about it and
Mm-hmm.
excited to see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things this didn't have to be the way this story worked out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think most times this is not the way this story works out.
Right. Right. Because
Yeah.
it could go on being disjointed for a long time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
So,
I'm proud of us for taking this on and doing it like this out loud,
mhm.
share it, being
Yeah,
vulnerable in this way.
me
I'm proud
too.
of
I
us.
think there's something that'll come from that. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that we plan to what we're looking forward most to with this season. So, with this season, I'm looking forward to, of course, just digging in and asking all the questions and getting to know who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
With the story in the background, with
Uh-huh.
the story in the background, but in getting to know who you are as a person, um, I think finding connections of things that always maybe there are things that didn't quite make sense to me, but now they might.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Getting to discover the stuff that we have in common, getting to find out the things that we don't. Um, but the funny part, I'm gonna tell you a funny part that I'm looking forward to.
Uh-oh.
And this might not be appropriate, might have to bleep it out, but how we were talking about where as coming up as young women,
Uh-huh.
a lot of stuff we had to learn on our own. And
Mm-hmm.
then probably in the course of learning, you might have had, I don't know if this is your case, but for me, for example, I got a chance to have certain conversations with my mama that I wouldn't have had otherwise, and
Mm-hmm.
or she would share things that she didn't previously necessarily have a reason to share with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how much, well, I know a lot of what my mama tells me is because she dealt with a nigga named Candace.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, we have that in common.
So, so in the
Yeah.
process, I feel like, and then maybe at some point we might talk with dad, but
Mm-hmm. That'd be
I,
fun.
I am looking forward to seeing other sides of dad and his relationships and trying to also humanize this person that,
Mm-hmm.
of course, he's a human to me. He's my dad, but
Mm-hmm.
I had him so high on this pedestal over here
Mm-hmm.
that it's hard to really peel back the layers. And I think the
Uh-huh.
more I get to peel back the layers, the more I can empathize, but also I can uncover things that I think I should share or that we should
Mm-hmm.
give voice to or give space
Mm-hmm.
to. And I hope the same for you too.
Yeah. I am looking forward to learning the stories, like just to put more of the history together that makes me, me, and us. I'm big on ancestry and genealogy. So learning my family story is not just my mom's side that I need to know. I want to know more about my dad's side and how things came to be. And I, I don't think I've ever felt a level of shame about our family like structure, but
Me
I
neither.
always felt, if anything, I felt more, if there was any shame, it was just out of being not as informed as I would like to be. So
Mhm.
pulling the information is just gonna make me feel much more stronger in the image that I have of myself, and um, also just building a connection with you. I'm really looking forward to that. I love storytelling, so this is just going to be a wild ride, and I'm here for it. And I'm
So
sure there are going to be people who can relate to, and I'm looking forward to that for them.
yes, and you know who knows? Maybe there'll be a point we have people as guests. We'll see. Um, so one of the things that we were talking about doing throughout the course of the podcast is sharing little tidbits about ourselves. And there's one moment where we were talking about doing a that tracks.
That tracks.
That
That
tracks.
tracks.
Okay, so that tracks is is a moment where we'll share something, maybe you know, in the week past or whatever that we did. That definitely, if anybody else heard it, they're like, that tracks. That is fitting for Kelli or for Candace to have done.
Yep.
I want to know what's your that tracks for this week.
For this week at work, they had an employee appreciation lunch where they got us Mexican taco spread. It tracked for me to have that styrofoam box of taco salad taken home for lunch for the next day. I definitely had no shame in packing a to-go plate. Once I knew everybody had been served, I got me a to-go plate. I love Mexican food. So I definitely had me a to-go plate, a styrofoam box, some foil. They have all the fixings at work, to be honest. The foil, the Ziploc bags, and the styrofoam boxes.
Meal prep at work.
Yes. So it very much tracked for me to be packing that to go meal heftily. Capitalize on them providing food.
Hey, listen, you got
For sure.
you gotta do, because I'm gonna tell you my favorite day. Okay. So in a past life, for listeners, I was the mayor of my town where I live.
Whoop, whoop.
And we had this annual event where we would honor or celebrate the volunteers. It was the volunteer celebration. Now, of all the things, all the receptions, all the little, you know, little mini pseudo galas that I've gone to, my favorite event ever was the volunteer celebration.
Okay.
Not because I was so excited about celebrating volunteers. I did, you know. It was because it was a Qdoba hot bar.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. We're here for it.
Listen,
Yes.
this one right here loves a nacho. Give me some.
It's
some
literally
pizza,
my favorite.
Some queso, some beans, and chicken.
No,
Oh,
really. My absolute favorite. I will never miss an opportunity when it comes to a taco bar. Qdoba is actually my favorite in that style. I don't really. Chipotle is a close second, but it's not my favorite. I feel like Chipotle gets overhyped. Qdoba, they got the lane on lock.
The fact that was my favorite event simply because we had hot bar is a problem, but I don't care.
No,
so,
for real.
My that tracks for this week is okay. So on it was Thursday. So my neighbor friend invited me to do one of those. Have you seen the ads on Instagram for like the candlelight orchestra type thing?
Oh yes.
Okay. I've only seen it on Instagram too. She sent me this link and was like, "Oh, you want to do it?" Because they were doing hip hop. I was like, "Okay." I have always seen this, never bought a ticket or contemplating buying a ticket. Why? Because in my head it was a scam. I was like, ain't nowhere around here look like that.
Candles, all they need is some candles and some chairs. And just turn the lights down low enough and it'll look just like that. No, really?
Yes. That was all they did. But I concluded it was a scam because I never seen one that looked like it. So,
oh my gosh.
So when we get there, I said, it does look like. It do look like the pictures on Instagram. I thought this was a scam. And she
Oh
was
my
laughing.
gosh.
So we're listening, and this is four musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and they're, trying to high class up these this experience to be like, and now we're gonna go from the East Coast over to the West Coast with some hits by Dr. Dre.
Oh my
Like,
God.
what is happening here? It was a great time. But when they said no photography, they gave the instructions at the beginning, no photography except in the last song, and the musicians will let you know when you can take pictures. And whenever you take pictures, no flash. Okay. So, as I've said on several occasions throughout this episode, I have ADHD. One of the things that I do, I don't know if you've seen that guy Maddie, his TikToks or whatever.
Mm-mm.
Maddie be showing videos and we talking, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it was because of my ADHD. That I do
Okay.
that. Like I be making up songs about stuff and random things just pop in my head. Like the other day when I was like,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin got a job. Um, so so I'm sitting in the road. It's my neighbor friend, then me, and then like two strangers. I don't know if they were a couple or not. It was two women, and then two guys next to them. And the guys I could tell were
What?
they were different. Okay,
Okay.
I could tell that by the way that they were like saying certain things.
Uh-huh.
So we get to the last song, and the lady's like, and this song talks about the what was it? Let's just say she said strife. She didn't say strife, but it was a different word.
Uh-huh.
Of growing up in inner city. This is Gangsta's Paradise. So now I'm irritated because I'm like, this is the last song y'all choose. Okay. So I'm irritated about that. But that's the
Oh
song
my
that you're like,
God.
oh, take a picture with, whatever. So the woman 2 seats down from me, we had already been, vibing the same time because she would say when she was choosing to hum a certain lyric or whatever, I was already humming it, and the woman between us, she was like, y'all saying the same thing. So she gets her camera and she's like an older lady. She's taking the picture, but the flash goes off. The man next to her is like, they said no flash. So I was like, she was like, I'm turning off. Help me turn it off. So she's trying to get him turn it off. So turn it off. He gets up and storms out like Forrest Gump. He looks like Forrest Gump when he stormed out that room.
Why?
He was so upset about the rule that she broke the rule. That's why I say I think. And so so when we're exiting, because this was the last song, so we're now exiting, and he's standing out there complaining, like talking to the people that were like selling candles at the table. And she walks out, girl. He kicks her in her shin and then says, they said no flash.
Oh my God.
I was like, only I would have that experience. And also only me. I have been for the past week randomly blurting out, they said no flash.
Oh my God. Yeah, that tracks. That's one to be stuck with you. What in the world? Now he
Yes.
lifted his foot.
He lifted. Listen, the fact that
A
lady
kick.
that they didn't start scrapping, I would have been slapboxing somebody. This all you would have heard.
For
Like, 'cause I can't
real.
fight, but all you would have heard was me smacking stuff left
Some
and right.
candles and furniture moving. My
It's been a
God.
flash. I was like, I can't
Oh
believe
God.
now it's gonna be stuck with me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be saying they said no flash for God knows how long. I'm gonna be saying it.
Girl,
But yeah,
girl.
that's I was like, only I would have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
It very much does.
So nacho bar, check, or taco bar. I know that's that way to your heart is through some Mexican
Mm-hmm.
food.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
For me, give me some Qdoba. Even though
Uh-huh.
there's a Qdoba around the corner, I never go. I only go to Qdoba when I have it on the hot bar at
Oh
somebody's
no.
catered function.
I frequent the Qdobes.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. And randomly blurting out phrases
No
that somebody
flash.
else said in a moment that was not funny, but I'm going to make it funny.
Uh-huh.
So,
For sure. Well, if you're enjoying the storytelling, be sure to engage with us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Contents May Vary Pod. Tell us what you think. Tell us what tracks for you. And keep up with us. We'll see you next week.
see you next week. Love you, girl.
Love you too.